Hi everybody, I'm Brad Silbert and welcome to a special edition of the Hamilton County Television Sports Show brought to you by Logan Street Signs and Banners. Today we have the privilege of talking to Lauren Votow, head coach of the Fishers Tigers. Coach, great to see you back, great to see your team back. The last season was definitely a little bit different for everybody, and going into this season, lots of changes for the Tigers.
Yes, definitely. We're excited to be back doing this show, excited to be back practicing, and it definitely feels more like the start of a regular basketball season, which is very fun.
Tell me how you're approaching things different this year compared to last year with with all the COVID things and all of that.
Well, vaccinations have made things much easier as far as that goes. And so, for the most part, we're still trying to just be cautious and be as safe and sanitary as possible. But as I mentioned, it really does pretty much feel normal, which is very refreshing.
A good feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, let's talk just a little bit about the team you had last year. Last year you had a very experienced team, some great team leadership. And unlike last year, this season, you've got a lot of underclassmen this year. But let's talk just about the contribution we had last year from the people like the Katie Burtons and stuff that you had on this team.
Well, so we graduated 4 seniors, and obviously Katie Burton, leading scorer in school history, boys and girls, Indiana All-Star, and is now playing in the Big East at St. John's. And but probably more importantly, just one of the hardest workers that ever has come through this program. And so obviously, when you have a kid that can score like that, it makes everything a little bit easier. And then obviously with her, Audra Emerson, who's now playing at Purdue Fort Wayne. And Audra was a 3-year starting point guard for us. And so those two brought a lot of just game experience and leadership, and understanding what it means to play in our conference and on our schedule. And then we just graduated 2 other great leaders in Jordan Imes and Katie Howard. And so obviously, when you lose players like that, there is a void that needs to be filled. And it's not going to be filled by just 1 or 2 people. This year I definitely see us more leadership by committee, more than just, the dominant leadership last year that we had.
Now you have Haley Smith and Olivia Smith returning for their 3rd year, and I can't count on probably both hands the number of times I've seen them play, and they are tremendous players. Just bundles of energy. I don't know how to describe them. What's your feelings?
Well, they do. They love the game of basketball, and they're extremely passionate about that, and they really have grown and matured as leaders. They're being extremely coachable and taking the advice that is given to them. They're obviously very talented. They have a knack for the game that you can't really teach. They have worked hard over the offseason to kind of expand their games as well. And they understand that they're going to need to play a big role for us, both as leaders and as players on the court. I think sometimes, people think about their offensive ability. That's what they think when they see them. But both Haley and Olivia defend well and rebound well.
I guess if I was to pick one word to describe them, I would say intense is, and I mean that in a very positive way. Is that kind of what your feeling is too?
Yes, I would agree that's accurate. Yes.
Well, let's talk about some of the newer kids coming into the program. You've got a lot of underclassmen coming in, but it looks like you're pretty well loaded with a lot of good talent there. Little lack of experience, but a lot of talent.
Correct. We definitely, our JV team was excellent last year. They did not lose very many games, if any at all. And we, are bringing several of those players up. We are going to be inexperienced, but I don't believe that there is a lack of talent there. And as I said, about Haley and Olivia, I think this whole team has really just been super coachable. And a team this young is really fun to coach at times because the growth that they show each day is so much greater than what, a team last year maybe who's more experienced. Their growth isn't going to be as obvious. So
Well, let's talk specifically about a couple of the players coming up. Kate Thomas in the middle, she's probably going to have a pretty big responsibility this year.
Kate really, the biggest thing that Kate brings is Kate's a great communicator. And so Kate is always the one in practice that's going to talk. And she definitely, obviously, is a physical presence and more of a true post player than what we had last year. But her communication definitely is what sets her apart, yeah.
Well, we're just a few days away, about a week or so away from the start of the regular season. I know you mentioned earlier before we started the program that you're going to actually get out on the court here with Pendleton Heights and do some scrimmaging. What do you look for in the scrimmage?
Well, I think in the scrimmage it's a great measuring stick to kind of see, where are our deficiencies that we need to address. And then I believe we have about 8 practices between the scrimmage and our first contest against Center Grove. And so, I just look for, where are areas that Pendleton Heights was able to take advantage of us, where are things that we need to obviously focus on. I'm specifically going to be watching tomorrow on, how do we carry ourselves, through adversity, because a lot of times with a young team, that's one of the things that you have to work on is how do you respond to adversity and who's going to step up to lead in those moments.
I was looking over the schedule this morning before I came over, and I haven't seen any Sagarin rankings or anything, but just looking at this schedule, you guys have got a very tough schedule coming up this year.
Yes, we do every year. I think this is probably going to be one of our tougher ones. Obviously, with the addition of Fort Wayne Homestead and Fort Wayne Carroll, that really beefs it up. I believe we lost Warren Central, and so with the addition of Homestead and Carroll, that's obviously gonna beef it up. And yes, our conference obviously is brutal, but then our non-conference schedule is very strong too. But that's what you get when you play in this area, and that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see because in all the years I've been doing sportscasting, it seems like you run into a couple different styles of coaching. Give me games I think I can win, or give me games that that are going to challenge. And it's obvious that you and your staff have picked the games. Let's challenge these kids, and hopefully that makes them better. Talk a little bit about Center Grove and Ben Davis coming up. First 2 games in a week from this Saturday on the 6th, and that'll be right here at Fisher's.
Mm-hmm. Yes, obviously, that's always a tough opening day. Center Grove and Ben Davis are always challenging. They're well coached, and they're very different. So Center Grove, much more X's and O's. We'll play a slower paced game. And Ben Davis obviously will be a faster paced game, much more physical. And so it's kind of 2 polar opposites in the same day. And with it being our first contest, it's going to kind of be just, as the game goes on, what adjustments do we need to make? But I like it. I like opening with that challenge. The kids are excited. They like opening with a challenge, and not that there's really anybody on our schedule that's not a challenge, but they do. They're excited. They're excited for that day.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. I think, I've been in the area here many, many years since the inception of the HCC, and I really don't think top to bottom, regardless of the sport, there's a better conference in central Indiana or the state of Indiana than the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. You got a lot of great competition out there, and it's just one of those things. But what do you look for in the conference this year?
Well, obviously it is. I believe it's the toughest conference in the state, top to bottom, and I think I'm looking at the wall over there, and there's not a single team up there that I look at that is a game that you can walk in and not play well and win. You have to bring it every night, and that's what makes winning it so special, and that's what makes us better for the end of the season in our sectional, which is very similar. But I think obviously there are some favorites in the conference, but I do believe that on any given night, we could see upsets.
Who do you think the favorites are this year?
Well, obviously Noblesville returns a lot of great talent, and I think that they are the team to beat from there. But I think everybody really brings back a lot. I think Avon being one of the weaker teams in the conference last year. Will Stahl is there now, and Will was at Fisher's, and I coached with him, and he just does a fabulous job. And the energy I think surrounding that program is going to make them competitive on any given night. But obviously Noblesville with the talent that they have, I think is probably the favorite. But I do believe that it's going to be a tight race as always.
Well, we always start with the conference, and I know coaches kind of look at the things as a 2 or 3 step process. Okay, let's go out, let's win the conference, then we take it into the state tournament, and we go, sectional, regional, and and hopefully on to semi-state and state. But this year, once again, the sectional that you'll play in, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be a tough one.
It is, but as I've mentioned several times, and this is what we tell our players, it's what makes it fun. You want to be in an area where you have to compete every night, and the sectional atmosphere is just awesome. And we had the opportunity to win it a couple of years ago, and that was memories that those girls will never forget. And I think if you're in a sectional that is not as tough, it's not nearly as rewarding when you come out on the other side. And we're one of the top 5 biggest schools in the state, and so we need to compete with the biggest if we are the biggest. So
a lot of expectations too, right, to go along with that?
Yes, but I feel very fortunate to coach here, just as far as I feel our athletic department does a really good job of expecting that we carry ourselves the right way and do things the right way, and they believe that when you do that, I think good things will come. So
well, Coach, we thank you for joining us today on the Hamilton County television sports show. Coach Lauren Vale, if you'd like to come out and see the Tigers play right out of the gate, November 6th, 2 games, one against Center Grove. I believe that's a 10 o'clock start, and a 7 p.m. start against Ben Davis. What a way to start the season.
Yep. On
behalf of Coach Lauren Votow, I'm Brad Silbert. Good day from Hamilton County Television Sports.